Yesterday, I did a video about how I got started in music. It's really fun to do. I reflected a lot. And someone in the comment section then asked me, why do I make music? And so in this video, we're gonna break that down.
Indie Jones, back with a trendy flow. I'm still trying to find my voice in this here scenario. Here we go.
Imagine with me, one of the biggest artists in your community graciously offers to have you open up at some of his biggest shows. It's a community you've never fully been embraced by, but you're encouraged to be a part of. And in the process, you step out and the crowds are bigger than you could have anticipated. And the people are warm and welcoming, and they're zealous about this community, and they're zealous about the values and principles that this community is supposed to represent. And you open the show up, you have a good show, and then afterwards you go to your merch table and you start hanging out and getting to know people. And what you discover is that a lot of the people that are a part of this community and championing the values that this community is supposed to present aren't fully aligned and reflecting what that looks like. The initial reason why I started making music was because I saw a need for hip-hop to be more positive, to be more reflective of a biblical worldview. As I was coming into faith in Jesus, I saw something that was missing. Mind you, this is early 2000s, and I didn't really understand Christian hip-hop. I didn't really understand gospel hip-hop or whatever it was called back then. I wasn't really rocking with the stuff that was out. I thought it was cool, but it just wasn't really for me where I was at in my maturity, because I saw a void and a need in the marketplace, making hip-hop that's positive, that can encourage people, that can give people hope, and ultimately point people to Jesus. I came into faith as a junior in high school. Around the same time I started taking music seriously, and I thought, man, this could be my outlet. This could be my expression. And I continued doing music, and for a number of years I saw a little bit of success, and I talked about it in yesterday's video. The why of why I actually make music didn't really come to me until about 7, 8, 9 years later. My wife and I were going through the debt-free journey. We had made a mess of our finances. We didn't have any financial literacy training growing up. We grew up poor. We grew up without a lot of money. We grew up with a scarcity mindset. And we made a mess of our finances in college. And in 18 months, we paid off $45,000 in debt. Now, simultaneously, in that same 18 months, things started to take off for me, and they started to really flourish from a musical standpoint. Those of you guys that have been following me for a really long time, this is around 2011, was really deep into doing the breaks. We were doing Remix Wednesdays, and me and Lecrae and some of the Reach guys that connected, and by the grace of God, Lecrae was very generous and gracious to us. He invited us to open up for him on a couple different shows. Super happy with the opportunity. We were doing secular college shows and performing at different colleges. That was kind of our lane and our niche, and we were super happy with it, but we were like, yo, there's this big Christian hip-hop audience. We're Christians, we make hip-hop. We was already getting featured on Rapzilla and stuff like that. We understood our audience was Christian, and we're like, man, this is a great opportunity. So I remember we did Reach Life Institute. We opened up for him at a House of Blues show, and we did the Man Up conference in Atlanta, which was huge, like 3,000 to 4,000 people huge. It was massive, and we seized the opportunity, man. We killed it in our live show. We killed it afterwards selling merchandise. I've never been the type of guy that like hides out backstage. Like, I'm gonna meet every single fan. I'm gonna take every single picture. The whole thing. And in the process of that, man, the climate at the time was 116, unashamed of the gospel. It was a very theological, flourishing time. Everybody was into Reformed theology. Everybody studied the scriptures relentlessly. Everybody was into theology. They was following guys like John Piper and Paul Washer and Mark Driscoll. And I would meet these fans, and they were super zealous for the Lord. Now, mind you, I'm going through this debt-free journey. I'm really growing up. Like, I'm really learning what it means to be a man. I'm really learning what it means to be a husband, what it means to be a provider, what it means to really grind for the kingdom. And I'm meeting these dudes at the Man Up Conference, and a lot of these guys had great theology, but their personal lives were complete train wrecks. They were disasters. They had really bad concepts and views of money. They had really bad concepts of understanding of hard work and what it means to be a provider, what it means to be a husband, what it means to be a friend. They had really poor relational boundaries and the type of people they were talking to. And it was like, yo, like, this community of people is super dope, but they have a lot of head knowledge and they're puffed up, but they don't really have any practical execution of what it means to be a regenerated, transformed Christian in today's climate and society. And so one of my favorite Bible verses going back to when I first got saved was John 10:10. Jesus says, I've came to give you life and life in abundance, life in full. And I thought to myself, is Christian hip hop, is the community of musicians that I'm a part of, is anybody really in this world of hip hop music encouraging, empowering, inspiring people to live life to the full, to live their lives the way God would dream for them to live their lives? And that's where the name came from, King's Dream Entertainment. What is the King of Kings' dream for us to live our lives? I saw a void and I saw a market where people knew theology and they knew their scriptures and they knew their Bibles, but they didn't know how to walk it out. They didn't know how to live it out. And I'm in the middle of really having my belief and my scriptures rock every fiber of me. I'm changing. I'm being discipled in ways that aren't just about learning and memorizing Bible verses, but now I gotta get on one accord with my wife. I gotta get on a budget. I gotta be a better husband. I gotta be a better friend. I gotta be more loving. I gotta be more patient. I gotta go out and actually love my neighbor like myself. These things were radically happening to me and they were transforming me because I was doing, for the first time I was doing, and I was walking in the ways of God. And so it transformed everything for me in a very personal way. And so that's where the vision came from. That's where King's Dream Entertainment came from. It was like, I want to make music that empowers people and encourages people to live out the King's dream for their life. I want them to be the hands and feet of Jesus. I can go deep on this and I could talk about this for hours, but I feel like in North America today, if you're watching this video, you are the 1%. And if we've been entrusted with so much wealth, if it's like the parable of the talents, I feel like if you're watching this right now, you're the guy that got 5 talents, that got 10 talents. And that comes with responsibility. That comes with us having to live our lives in a way that's going to optimize our purpose and really get after whatever God's calling us for holistically. Everything from finances to career to marriage to our bodies and physical fitness. This is a huge vision. But this is where it started, and that's where the vision of King's Dream came from. And the music, the heart for the music was, I want to make the soundtrack for people that want to be zealous to go after God's dream for their lives. I want to make the music that if you're a young entrepreneur, if you're a young hustler, if you're on a debt-free journey, if you need some motivation to go to the gym, if you need someone to encourage you to do things God's way so you can be in God's will, I wanted to make that music and I wanted the label to be a reflection of that. And so that's why I make music. That's where the music comes from, is a need. I think there's still a need. I think we've came a long way in Christendom. I think we've came a long way in the community of Christian hip hop. I think we've came a long way in hip hop and just music culture in general, but there's still a disconnect between young people and what they aspire to be to who they actually are, to who they say they want to be, but where their work ethic actually lines up, to the marriage they say they want to have, yet the emotional boundaries or lack thereof they exhibit when they get with somebody of the opposite sex. And the music is really just intended to encourage, inspire, empower people to live out God's dreams. So, man, that's why I make music. Hopefully that encouraged you. Hopefully that inspired you. Let me know in the comment section below. Is this something you guys relate to? Is this something that's evident? Because I've never made a video explaining that. So thank y'all so much for watching this, man. Having a blast doing Veda. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
I am so incognito. Far away from him. Incognito. Came in one way. Incognito. Not leaving the same. I'm going with the top down. Waiting for the countdown. All grace, no wishes. No loans, no interest. Feels good. Tony. Yeah. Tony. We the ones chosen. Stop. Running late here unannounced. Nothing worse than a game with no crown. And I don't fit in to pretend that you blend like a front out of town. God stepped in and said, oh, the accounts. Now you don't know what to do with the pounds. Take a view of the house, make it true till it's ours. I'm producing amounts. It's a nuisance, the house. I am so ouch.